Guys, what is going on? SDHO 109. How are you? Are you feeling fine? I am off video again. And this recording has already been recorded, so I'm just talking over it. We'll see how we did. It's another good Ableton one. We're going to be very good to the people who have, any version of Ableton Live. So I'll be working with samples in Simpler again. I think I've sort of scratched the itch with my doing sampling and stuff like that. After that, we go into analog and then into drift. And so basically the only devices you have if you have like Ableton Live Intro or Lite is just Simpler and drift. And interestingly enough, I did upgrade to Ableton Live 12. And I did see when I was updating that that actually they gave some new devices to Ableton Live standard users, analog, and then the physical modeling ones, collision, electric, and tension. And I was like, well, about time, because the people that have standard didn't even really have any more devices than intro. So I'm glad they changed that. So let's jump in now. I'm going to be narrating over this. Hopefully this works good and I can find a good pace. So yeah, gonna get into some samples. Gonna be using Simpler, of course. I almost don't even have any need to use Sampler anymore. It has like extra sound design routings, but there really isn't that much benefit to that. You really get everything, including other features, in Simpler. So here's a MIDI clip. When you go into these clips, you can get like MIDI clips. And so then when you drag them in, and you'll want to drag them into their own MIDI track, you'll get these MIDI notes. Now, I think I actually recorded this on my own and like saved it. I'm not really sure. But yeah, so like this is a multi-sampled instrument in Sampler. That's actually one of the things Sampler is really good for. And you can better lower this volume here. And so you don't have to like play that clip. Like I wanted to just like play that marimba, and I want to legato these so I get like a full long playing. Like I wanted to play the marimba, so it's like in that MIDI clip I could have used what I had there, or I could play it like an instrument. So that's a minor triad. And what I'm going to do, and I don't do this too much, but I've been doing it lately, is that you click freeze track, and you'll see why I'm doing it. And then you click flatten. So now it's all I wanted was just the audio, and then I wanted to throw that into Simpler. I don't know why I'm saying it that way. Now I'm just doing some, I don't know why it gives you two of them. I'm not really sure. It kind of like always does that. So I just want to crop the sample. Interesting that it was playing louder on the right side. The bottom one is like the right channel, the left channel, meaning like the right side of the speakers, in stereo. So there it is. We're in classic. It will only, if we go to one shot, it plays the whole thing. But I'm not really trying to play it that way. I'm a little bit more interested in sound design. Just having fun playing a little bit of that stuff. Trying to figure out what I want to do here. When you do play it across the notes like that, you're playing parallel harmony. So you're playing, you're playing a minor triad, every note transposed everywhere you go. And I was like looking around on here thinking, what am I looking to do here? And so I then saw pierogi, and it piqued my interest. This is another clip that I recorded with an analog device that this was like a cool little pattern that I came up with. And I'm like, maybe I want to play with this. Because I saw pierogi synth, and I'm like, I'm pretty sure I made that one. And I said, don't ask, it's good. And of course, you got a chorus and a reverb on there. The chorus always sounds really good with a synth that's got like some higher frequencies, especially like a synth like Ableton's Analog. That is the pierogi synth. Welcome. Get a limiter on the track just in case we push the volume real high. I just always have a limiter on every track. Let's transpose it down an octave. -12 is an octave down. +12 would be an octave up. Because I want it lower, and I kind of like those pitches where they are. Of course, we got the filter, low pass filter. And I'm like, you know what? We never do high pass filter. Band pass filter. Too small when it's like that. You really need to go and use the 12 pole so you get more frequencies. Just playing with different filters. I realize I don't do that enough. So I'm like, yeah, let's just see what we got going on here. Classic mode is probably where we're going to be going, because that's what allows you to then like loop little portions and do some things of that sort. And then you can, that's when you're getting into more sound design type stuff with sample synthesis. So you do want to enact loop. Snap is supposed to find 0 crossings when you start looping portions. Sometimes it's good, sometimes not. I normally leave it off. And then we're going to turn up fade, which will do nothing until we set the loop, as you can see. Now it's just doing sound design. I want to just make something that sounds pleasing. Probably should put some release on there. I'm sure I'll do that in due time. Right now I'm just trying to see what sort of possibilities, because like I'm thinking about like, wanting to be able to, that's why you want to have the fade on there, because it makes those clicks when it loops over, which might not be bad. Just because there's clicks doesn't mean that's bad. Like that's unique in its own right if you like it. But I'm trying to find something that sounds good, because I want to be able to like take that source material, loop it in a way where I can play it indefinitely, and then I want it to sound good. And then, with a sampler, you're able to then, it transposes it up and down the keyboard, so you can play it as its own instrument, unique instrument. So just playing around with it, having fun. I mean, this is all supposed to be about fun anyway, isn't it? Maybe like one of them will give like the secret special sauce. Kind of that like tumming over sound. I was trying to see if I could like get rid of it or like disguise it in a way where like you couldn't tell. I mean, my thoughts is like if a sound sounds good, no one's going to be thinking about what it looks like in the sampler or whatever. And then of course, you always have that capability as well when you go very granular. Well, let's play with some filtering. We didn't do the notch filter. That's a kind of an interesting one. Kind of has its own unique sound. So that's the inbuilt LFO in Simpler. There's always like an inbuilt filter and LFO in all of these synthesizers. The only problem is that like when you're used to like seeing it actually move, like right now it's moving that, but it's moving it under the hood, you know what I mean? Like you're hearing the effect, but you're not seeing it move. Oh yeah, and these morph filters are kind of interesting because I like allowing all of the lows to come through. So now we're modulating the volume, which, whatever. But I'd rather just sort of leave it on the good old low pass. It's just great for everything. And yeah, let's see. But to be honest, letting in all the frequencies is probably best for this particular sound, I was coming to realize. Now you've got a very bright, harmonically dense sound whenever you do that. And sometimes it's like too bright, which is not a bad thing because then you can use that low pass filter. You need to bring it down and then have the filter envelope swoop it down. So you gotta click the envelope one, set up the way you would want it, but you gotta give the amount. When you really tighten it in like that, that can be good if you need more of like a percussive type sound. Always good to give it like a filter drive to really beef it up. And of course, you can get both views open at the same time if you hit the little triangle button. Whenever there's a triangle button on top of any of these devices, you know that that's like allowing you to have another view open simultaneously. And then you always got a pitch envelope, which can give it extra punch. But the reason why it'll sound like a laser, but that's because the decay is too long. So like anywhere from like maybe 50 milliseconds, and always like A and B it by like turning it off like that. Like sometimes it can give you an extra punch that you need, especially for like beefing up more like percussive type samples. And so, yeah, that's something that you might want to take a look at. So yeah, we are going to be probably moving on here soon. I think I'm realizing I was like, hey, maybe we should go into pierogi synth, and that got me kind of thinking maybe we should get into analog, which you're not gonna have unless you have standard. Which new it said on the thing, it was like new to Live 12. I just updated. They had like a sale, and they were like new to Live 12. Um, you know, analog and then collision, tension, and then I saw 2 plus 2 equals 4. I might cover this out. I don't think this was one that I created, but it's like a goofy title, so I'm like, what is this? Some weird drum kit that's yeah, I didn't make that. I don't like those weird drum kits that sound like that, and I might cut that part out of the recording. I was just kind of curious to see what that was. Those like very like electric or very electronic-y drum kits that are all over Ableton Lime. Thinking like, okay, what would be a good one to play with? Something that I can do some interesting sampling with. I don't even know how long I stay on this for. Because at the end of the day, I'm someone who kind of just wants to like create something that's not already there. So I was trying to just like get ideas, you know? And then I saw Zelda and I'm like, oh, okay, I think I made this one. Kind of sounds like a thing from the Zelda video game. This is one thing I made. And I'm like, what if I like zoomed in on like one of the chords in here and then like do some like do some sampling with that? And then see what that sounds like. If I like loop it, could I get like a very interesting sort of sound? So it's like I've been interested to and then I'm playing on top of it. It sounded like every note I played was like in scale. I'm like, it sounds like there's no wrong notes. Sometimes you get so turned on to those things, you're like, wow, I almost feel like you can just play any note you want, really. Shouldn't be any rules in music, you know? Just like a grand piano patch that comes with, so now I'm doing that same freeze and flatten thing. But yeah, that's like those are some of the packs that come with Live Suite. That's like the grand piano one. So if you want like a traditional acoustic piano, you got that. And for some reason it was not allowing me to hold down right click. I was like having problems. It was weird. I don't know. But yeah, by the way, I did get Live 12, but I haven't opened. Well, I've opened it up. I've set it up on my new computer, but like for this, I just wanted to just start recording quick right away. We're in classic mode, so in order to hear that, I have to hold it down. So I'm trying to figure out if there's like a point in there where like I've got like multiple notes at the same time, and I want to see if I can like loop it and have it do like something a little bit different. So we're isolating it, turning up the fade, which won't do anything until we turn the loop part down. So that sounds like very different, very like out of context from what we had before, you know? So I'm trying to figure out if like this can give me an interesting sound from that source material. The only problem is like you can kind of hear that like looping over. I'm not really liking that at all. And even though I've been really happy that I've been playing with sampling, because anytime you do anything different, even if you're someone who doesn't normally do it, they'll give you new ideas. what I'm thinking I'm gonna do the next time I play with samples is I wanna get a really good sound, and then I wanna add lots and lots of like audio effects to try to get make it become something completely different than what it was. And like the sound I'm going for is like something that is like, I don't know, just very atmospheric, ambient, very relaxing to listen to. Right now I'm just trying to see if I can push the limits to like what this technique will allow me to do, and just make sure I'm experimenting with all the controls to try to like find something that might jump off as like interesting or memorable, and then do some things. So now I'm like, okay, let's see what we can do. Now that I kind of like this, I like to have like a triplet in one ear and then like different on the other. I want a lot of delay because I want to really like blur it around and smooth it out and make it extra like ambient, atmospheric. Really had to push it pretty hard. Like I want it to all like blur together, like create like a soupy sound. The only reason why it does that thing is because the mode on the right of the delay is set to repitch, so like it has that like tape loop jumping thing to it. And then I was like, well, maybe I'll put it on ping pong. And when you have it on ping pong, normally you'll keep it at like the same and you could also record those sounds and then like throw those into a sampler, and then like that could be a good basis for another interesting sound. So let's do resampling to record this. Oh no, it started recording the Zelda thing because that clip was enabled. Like, I like the sound of this. I put the delay on infinite. It's almost kind of like freezing it, you know? Like it was staying at the same level. It's like almost like a frozen reverb or something. Kind of like a similar thing, but I deactivated it because I'm like, I think we're kind of good now. Can't remember what we did next. I let it really drag out. Probably because my computer was starting to overheat. Gotta let it cool down a little bit. Or at least on this aging laptop. With this, like, I recorded 2 bars, not in tune, but I realized that the second phrase, or the second, like, part of it, wasn't as well recorded, so I was like, what if I, like, move this in just to, like, loop this part, because it's good, but it's not really done in time. I think I just recorded, I don't think it was on, like, the BPM, so I'm trying to, like, I'm really just jumping around, just, like, having fun, screwing around, I guess the kinds of things that I would do. I realized they didn't end right, they kind of like hung over, so I'm just like shortening them. Why am I doing this? Totally random. Well, I mean, It's just kind of how I do things. I realized they were ending too abrupt, so I was like, let's And so what's good is if you like throw on like filter 2. I like to do like notch because then it comes through, whereas like we're not cutting anything out like we're doing before. And in order to hear it, because it sends the filter 2 to amp 2. So if amp 2 isn't turned on, you basically just won't hear it. And then you can decide how much of what's going through filter 1 to pass into filter 2. And then in there it's saying, okay, let's now send some of that up to filter 1 as well, not just all to filter 2. You can just play around with it, kind of see what you hear, see what sounds good. And I like how it has that little like nasally coming through. Now I want to like give some movement. And even though I would rather use like the standalone LFO because I can see it move, I'm like, let's get a slow rate and let's put it on the filter 2. Move it so, and also might want to adjust the volume envelope for oscillator 2. Sounds kind of interesting, doesn't it? That's like what's great about analog is when you get both oscillators working together. Adjusting the chorus settings. It looks like the old chorus. That's interesting how it didn't like, it's using like the legacy chorus. Like the new chorus doesn't look like that, which is weird. Sometimes adjusting the feedback on the chorus can help. It's just getting like mystified by the sound good. I always kind of like chorus when it's got like a small rate. So now we're gonna close it out with drift, which is the other synth that everyone gets, and it's really cool. I really like drift. So right now I want to turn off oscillator 2 just so we can just drill in and focus on like the first oscillator. And just to make things very simple, I just want to start with a sine wave. And I'm going to get a spectrum because for some reason I kind of have a feeling that this might not just solely be a sine wave. Like, see how we've got some of those other specs? I could just hear with my ears that it seemed like there was like other harmonics there. And notice how like spectrum, if you take it off auto, now it won't do that dropping effect like that. And I was like, okay, cool, that's what I want to see. Just adjusting the view. It's good to play around with all these parameters. Figure out what you like. Now, my favorite thing is this shape knob. Like, that's what really makes this device great for me. Like, it's adjusting the shape of, like, the sine wave. I don't know if that's called, like, sinusoidal, like, manipulation. I'm not really sure, but it just has, like, kind of, like, a more interesting effect to it. Just take some time out while you're doing it and just play some sounds, see how it sounds when you go up and down the keyboard, play some chords. Now we're going to get oscillator 2 back by activating it. And I wanted to hear what it sounded like before it was an octave lower. And the detune thing that's kind of part of the drift. They can like drift apart. And just a little bit sounds kind of good, I noticed. Just experiment. Like that's like probably too much. See how it has that like really nice sound to it? There we go. It's nice to kind of have that octave below. some noise on there. You know, you can do the same thing in analog, but it's like, I don't know, I kind of just feel like I'm just hearing noise. So I'm just like, you know, do I really need that? I guess the thought is like just a little bit of noise just adds a little bit more like harmonic denseness or richness. Just playing around with the filter, seeing if I like anything, see if the resonance adds much to it, which normally on like an analog type like filter, resonance can add a special character, but it's not doing too much for me. I'm thinking, should we modulate the filter here? It's plugged, so now we're going to have the LFO acting on it. It's very, see, you really need to have the visual feedback when you do it, otherwise I find out I don't like it as much. I feel like I need to see it moving, especially because if we were in wavetable, it would be doing that, you know? Like you would see it move. I feel like we've come to expect that now. Because it's doing it under the hood, but like I like to see visual feedback. Now playing with that wonderful shape parameter, which is like my favorite parameter in this thing. Yeah, see, it's like, I'd rather just throw that down there and then, like, see it move, you know? Because you kind of know where you want it to go. So it was doing that. But now we actually get to see it move, you know? I think I realized, I'm like, I don't really care too much about having some filter modulation. I feel like, want to just enhance the sound a little bit, but nevertheless, just playing around a little bit here. Yeah, I'd rather just have access to all the filters, or excuse me, have access to all the frequencies. Like, I don't really need to take them out. I don't want to lose any of the bright top end. And that's when I was like, yeah, always good to like go back and play with shape. And I think I got the idea. I was like, let's throw a chorus on here, because chorus is really good at like blurring and smoothing the high frequencies and like giving it that really wonderful like shimmering chorus. See how the chorus device looks different than before. I'm surprised it kept the original, like the legacy one when I threw that in. I actually like this one better. Like the rate a lot slower, but of course it gives a different effect when you move the rate up. Always good to play with the dry and wet to see like where you like it. The level of like affected signal mixed in with the original signal. You'll find like a nice sweet spot when you play with it. Not too fast, not too slow. Doesn't it? I was like, man, I'm loving this, and all it really took was just a couple of tweaks on the drift and then tweaking that chorus. I really love chorus. Anyone who hates on chorus is just crazy. Some people would joke on chorus and say it makes sounds sound like they're like cheesy and from the 80s. I didn't hear it change too much when I did ensemble. Vibrato was just too intense. But I mean, I probably could have like changed the amount, but I'm like, yeah, I don't need vibrato. But it is nice that they added that to the new chorus device, because like there are times when you would want like a vibrato sound. You would need to have a way to have it like fade in. Normally, like the vibrato sound, you'll have it like fade in, not like at like the beginning of where you are. And then I was like, let's get this didn't work. I was like, oh my god, I haven't. So like you have to activate sidechaining, otherwise it's only going to play that C3 pitch. But when I did eventually activate sidechaining so I could play multiple pitches, it like, the notes wouldn't ring, almost as if like, I don't know, I think you'll hear what I mean later, but and I tried a lot of different algorithms, but it just didn't really do what I thought it was gonna do. And I was like, yeah, maybe put it before the chorus. Always experiment with the order of things. I was turning off bypassing the chorus because I'm like, I feel like I'm not hearing the device the way I would want it to. And that's when I realized that every note, every pitch that I played was being played with, right now, a D above. So you have to actually, believe it or not, touch like frequency. But like I was playing different notes, and for some reason the effect of the corpus was just not really coming through. So I was like, maybe I need to play with the transpose, perhaps, like maybe it's the settings. But if you notice, you're mostly hearing the drift, you're not really hearing the corpus at all. And we were hearing it before we did sidechain, so I don't know why. I was like, maybe I need it. So if I put it on wet, you're not hearing any of the dry drift sound, you're just hearing it processed through corpus. So I was like, maybe that's why I put it on 100% wet. But I'm like, I'm not really hearing a whole lot, even with it on 100% wet. And I'm like, is it these settings? Is it like yeah, I'm like, let's just get out of that. And then I'm like, yeah, let's put a bunch of reverb on here, Convolution Reverb Pro. Although the hybrid reverb lets you kind of mix and match, but I was like, yeah, I haven't really dug around Convolution Reverb Pro in a while. I normally stay away from using it because like it does utilize a good amount of CPU, and I'm trying to keep CPU down. A lot of times you might want to cut off the lowest lows from reverberating. I didn't really hear much there, especially like the highs. The highs don't sound as good. I wanted to make sure I was hearing it. I felt like I wasn't hearing it. I was like, is this even really on? So I'm just kind of experimenting. It was jumping around, kept going to there. I'm like, all right, maybe that means we need the German Concert Hall LR. And actually, this one sounded kind of good. Ooh, I liked that chord. You can notice it's using a lot of CPU. Notice how it's like almost spiking right there underneath the drift track. Sounds very dramatic. I like it. It's like, it's very good. So you have those ones up there. You can like change the position of like in the stereo field of where the delay is, which would be good if you had like two of them and you panned one sound slightly different to the left, one to the right. I kind of wanted to know like the A and B, which I was like, is there a way to like add A and B together? And I'm like, oh, maybe it's split, but then I didn't realize that like early is just like if you wanted to tweak the early part and the later part. I'm not really too sure, but I wanted to mix different reverbs, but when I move it from early to late, it's like the same one. So I was just like, I don't know, just experimenting. I haven't used Convolution Reverb in a while, so it's like, we're doing sound design. We're just like, making cool sounds, seeing what's interesting. I noticed when you turn the size parameter, notice how it goes gray when you turn it? So it only adjusts after you move it and then take your hand off of it. It doesn't adjust in real time. So I was not really liking that, but I did notice that I liked a larger size on there. But like modulation, I'm like, damping, you wouldn't... Yeah, see, that was the kind of delayed thing as well. You might want to like take some of the lows out for like damping, otherwise like there can be like a low muddy buildup depending on your sound. And then I was like, because I was like, I haven't really clicked through these, and for some reason, like it was looking different. I'm like, why does it? I'm like, maybe I just haven't used it in a while. So then I was thinking, okay, maybe we can throw delay into the mix to try to really turn this into something different, something more like washed out and more like ambient droney and stuff. playing with some of the delay here. I think I noticed that it was... Look at the CPU going up on the drift track. Sounds pretty good. And then I was like, maybe we should just see what just the regular convolution reverb looks like. Maybe it uses like less CPU, which it does seem like it does that. I was able to handle it, but I'm like, let's just play around. Like, I can't remember exactly. I mean, it looks like it's the same thing. It just didn't have those like features to the right, but you still got the EQ, which it's very important to have an EQ on the reverb. Because oftentimes the lowest lows and the highest highs don't sound so good when you've reverberated in there. So just like playing around, I'm like, let's see if this sounds interesting, because it looks like really big. Maybe it will give an interesting sound, but for whatever reason, it didn't seem like it was doing too much. Like I had to jack the dry wet up, but also we could also throw the gain up as well if we want to hear more of like the affected signal. Which is why I was playing with the dry wet, because it does that. And now I'm just playing around. It says made for drums, but it doesn't mean you only put drum sounds in it. And I'm like, yeah, maybe I don't really care too much about the reverb. It's fine. A lot of times delay can kind of act like reverb a little bit, but without like the blurring it, obscuring it, if you really crank the settings. Yeah, and that will modulate the filter, which is what you can see in that little box. It'll like move it in and out, and in the time, that will be doing it to whatever you have for the delay time. It'll just like modulate a little bit, kind of give it an interesting sound. And now, of course, I'm like, what was this? A triangle wave? I'm like, does it make it different at all? Command Z to go back. At least I think I did. It's almost like it just sounds good as it is. Great on the drift. Can play with the detune. That's supposed to enhance its drift. Maybe do a different one for oscillator 2. I was going to see if I could copy the one that I had in oscillator 1, but that wasn't there. So when you click that button, it runs the noise into the filter. That's why when it was turned off, you heard all of it. And then, so that's what those little like, what's it called, are? Those little like arrows to the right. It means, do you want it to like run into the filter or like bypass the filter? So just... So anyways, guys, I hope you enjoyed that. I've been having fun with Ableton. I'm excited to use Live 12. I used it a little bit just to make sure everything worked, just to see what kind of like a clean install of Ableton was like. So I hope you've been enjoying all of these Ableton predominant SDHOs. And I'm excited to get into the MIDI effects stuff of Live 12, but don't worry, I'll also be having some more spiritual consciousness, future, new earth type stuff. As mentioned, I am doing sessions. If you guys are interested in sessions, we can go over your Ableton projects or just learn sound design together or do anything. We could even talk about like future consciousness, new earth, AI, all kinds of stuff, brainstorm ideas. I'd like to think I can see into the future. So anyways, guys, hope you're doing well, and I will see you on the next one.